One of the things I wanted to do when I started this channel was not reinvent the wheel. I wanted to cover my journey and my experience in the hobby and what I was interested in. It turns out for some people it'd be really helpful if I covered some of the basics that I just assumed people knew, or there was already content out there that people could find that would help them. So let's get to it. Hi guys, and welcome back to another Forge of Solace Paints. Like I said in the intro, I'm going to cover some of the basics. I'm going to have a separate playlist for all of these videos that's meant as a primer for guys coming into the hobby that might not have the same level of experience as we have. I thought that maybe people would go away and find this information somewhere else. There's lots of other resources out there on YouTube, but I've been asked by several people now if I'd cover some of the real fundamentals of the hobby, really. So that's everything from brush care to priming models to just the basics of thinking about how you put colour on your miniatures. As I want to be as helpful as possible, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to keep these quite short, quite snappy. What we're going to cover this time? Well, we're going to look at brush care and how I clean my brushes. What does that mean? Not only do we need to clean those brushes to maintain them, but also as we're painting. It seems like a really simple thing. That's not the case. So without further ado, let's get over to the painting desk and look at what I do to look after my brushes while I'm painting. This is an odd one. Come on, let's do this. Okay guys, so let's have a look at this taking care of this brushes situation. So the first thing you'll notice is how I've set up my water and my painting area. I've got some clean water, I've got another tub of clean water, and I've got my paint brush cleaner. I'm using the Masters here. Okay, so here we have a brush that's been painted with for a while, and you'll notice that there's paint about halfway to 2/3 the way up the tip of the bristles. Now, this is when you know that you need to clean your brush. You don't want to let the paint get too far up and into the ferrule. The first thing we do with this dirty brush is to use the water pot on the right hand side. We wipe the brush against the side of it to get the majority of the paint off there as much as possible. Again, being gentle, nothing aggressive, we don't want to damage the bristles. Once the brush is nice and wet, we start to draw it backwards in the brush cleaner, never forwards. You don't want to damage the bristles. Slow rotating movements backwards, drawing it nice and softly through the cleaner. I use the back of my hand here. You can use a tissue, maybe use a glove. What I'm doing is I'm slowly drawing the brush backwards. Again, slight rotation in there, and you'll notice that I'm using the water on the left hand side now. The reason I'm doing this is so that I don't contaminate my painting water on the right hand side with any of the cleaning substance. A potential there is that you could contaminate your wet palette or your paint pots, whatever you're using. It's just good practice to use two different paint pots like you would with metallics. And as you can see at this point, we're in a pretty good position. I'm drawing the brush again backwards across the palm of my hand, slight crease into my hand, and running the brush down the crease just to draw those bristles to a nice sharp point. And look, there we go. Well then, now we've looked at what it's like in theory, let's have a look at what it's like in practice. So here we are painting a banner from Dark Angels, and I've been working for about 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to clean my brush. A lot of people would do it between colours. I like to keep my brush nice and clean. The paint flows much better, you get much higher quality lines, crisper, cleaner, just the bristles flex much better. So if you are bouncing the brush, absolutely fine. And it really takes no time at all. I'm actually doing this quite slow compared to what I normally do it like when I'm painting without recording a video. It only takes a couple of seconds to do it, and the more you do it, the faster you get. Just make sure that you don't push the bristles into the cleaner and you're always drawing backwards. Simple. So now we've taken a look at how we clean the brush while we're painting, let's take a look at how we can clean the brush after the fact. So this brush here has got some paint all the way up into the ferrule. So the first thing that I've done is get it in that water, get it nice and moist, and we're really working it into that brush cleaner. Want to get a good amount of the cleaner on there. Drawing it backwards again, remember, not pushing it in. It looks like it's been aggressive, but I am actually being really gentle here. You don't want to bend the bristles, you don't want to splay them too far, you just want to get a good amount of that cleaner on your bristles. Whichever brand it is, it doesn't matter. Same method as before, drawing it backwards along the hand, twisting it, really working that cleaner up into the bristles as far as possible. Getting some more on that, and this is where we're going to start really starting to see a difference. So I'm going to take the tip of my thumb, just the nail, and push it very gently at the base of the bristles and rotate the brush. This is just really helping get that stubborn dried paint that's got up in there into the area near the ferrule. It's just working it loose. I'm really not putting any pressure on here, guys, and then slowly drawing my thumb and forefinger together and the bristles through it, just working that paint out of there. Let the cleaner do its job. Release the paint. Your bristles are going to be a little bit splayed, but let's get it back in the water. A little bit more cleaner on there. That's going to help draw the bristles back together. And you guessed it, we're going to get on the back of his hand, roll and pull, a little bit around, mixing it in, really working out any of the dried paint there. And this is where we're just going to bring the brush back together, get that nice sharp point. Look, this is just a Games Workshop brush. It's not one of my decent brushes at all, but I think you'll agree, looking after it like this, the point is still super crispy. That is just sharp, and I use this one at the moment. It's probably my daily driver brush. And there we go. And there we have it, guys. How do you look after yours? What's different to what you do to what I'm doing? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Who knows? Let me know down in the comments. As you know, what I'm trying to do is make high quality content and give something back to a community that's given me so much. If you've not already, please do subscribe. Do me a solid, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a thumbs down if you don't think I'm doing a particularly good job. Whatever it is, please do interact with the video. If you didn't know, I also co-host a podcast. You can find out more about that over at droppod.info. And without further ado, I think the only thing that's left to be said is, you guessed it, if you're going to do crap, make sure it's plastic. See ya!